Hi, and welcome to Unit 9, which will be your bar chord unit on the guitar. This first video is just kind of a quick introduction to what bar chords are, which is a movable chord that you can shift up and down the neck of the guitar without having to change the shape. Bar chords also, your first finger kind of acts like a capo, essentially. So you're barring off the entire fret across the entire neck of the guitar and moving the nut up to change the sound of the chord. So it can be a really convenient way if you have a really fast chord progression to kind of have everything set in place and just shift up and down the neck really fast. It's also a great way to play some of the chords that don't have an open chord counterpoint. And by open chord, I mean something that you would play up here like a G or a D. If it doesn't have a bar, it's called an open chord. But there's some chords that you'll come across like F sharp or B flat where there isn't an open chord that you can play that in. So for certain songs you might have to utilize a bar chord. And there's kind of two things that you need to know when you learn the bar. It's where the bar goes and then what shape goes underneath. That's what we'll get into in the next couple videos. But as you could probably guess, the bar itself is really, really important when you're playing these types of chords because you need to be able to clamp down on all 6 strings in a way that will press them completely into the fingerboard so that all the strings will ring. Because as you know from playing open chords, if you're not pressing down strong enough, you get a very dead sound, which is probably, well, it's definitely not what you want. So the first thing I'm going to have you do as you're watching this is just do what I call bar chord push-ups. Just take your finger, straighten it out completely so none of your knuckles are bent. And you're just going to kind of place it just above the first fret, the first metal fret, same place you would put a capo if you were using one, and just press down and then release. Press, release. And so you can kind of get a feel for that sort of slight squeeze, slight bit of pressure that you need to put on the strings. And then you can kind of shift up the neck. As you get up the neck of the guitar, depending on the guitar that you have, depending on the size of your hand, you might find that it gets easier, or you might find that it gets a little harder. Some guitars it's harder because the strings kind of get set higher up, so you've got to do a little bit more of a pressing motion. Other people find it easier because the frets are closer together, so you might find it one way or the other for you. After you've done some bar chord push-ups, your first assignment is going to be to work on the song Think B.B. King, which is a little bit of a blues tune. And what you're going to be doing is it's written in tabs, so you'll just read the tab. You're not doing full bar chords yet, but you're doing what's called a half bar. And so you're just taking this very straight first finger and placing it across half of the neck of your guitar. And I want you, it should look like a capo. You shouldn't have any bending at all in your finger. And you'll learn this short blues tune with the half bars. That'll kind of give you a feel for that pressing motion across multiple strings. There's also a bar chord handout, which I'd like you to read, which will give you some tips in case you're having some trouble getting that bar to really get a good sound. One of the tips is that you want to drop your wrist maybe more than usual. If you're someone that's had a lazy thumb, that's really going to be tough for you now. You've got to get your thumb down low, drop your wrist so that this finger can be completely flat. If your wrist is high, your knuckle bends and you're not going to get a good sound. So low wrist, straight finger. You can roll a little bit on the side of your finger. So just experiment a little bit till you can get a really good sound with the bar. When you're done with all that, you'll check in with the next video and we'll move on to the first true bar chords. Have fun.